I did not expect to enjoy this game as much as I am doing. And of course, today we're talking about 007 First Light. People are basically saying if Hitman and Uncharted had a baby, it would be this game. Now, personally, I've only played some of the Hitman games and I've only completed one Uncharted game. Yes, I know, before people start throwing stuff at me. Listen, I've had these games on my shelf for like the last 10 years. They're just very much part of my backlog, which after playing this, I might actually go and play them, but we'll get to that later on. But like I said, this game is a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. I do have some gripes with this game, which I will go into in this video. And this was one of those games where I thought I was just going to like get it somewhere down the line. I wasn't really bothered about it. Until I seen loads of pictures and everything, how good this game looked, I went, okay, I might have to go and actually get this game. I'm glad I did. I'm not going to go into story spoilers of this game. And as of this recording, I'm about, I want to say, 65 to 70% through this game, judging from how many missions there are in this actual main story. But if you don't want to know how many missions are in this story, then I'm about to say this now, so that's kind of a tiny spoiler, I suppose. In all, apparently, there is about 10 missions in this game, including a separate prologue. And I'll admit, like, the timing you have to get from the prologue to, like, the first mission where you kind of go on your own is kind of a long time. I want to say, like, 1 to 2 hours. Which I don't see as a bad thing. There's a lot of training segments in this game, but you know, they don't really feel like those sort of training segments you used to because it is part of the story as well. I really enjoyed this. I know some people I've heard haven't really enjoyed this segment as much, but you know, it does take like 1 to 2 hours to actually get the story going a bit more. But like I said, I enjoy it because it basically shown you how James Bond came to be and how he got all his skills, which I really do like. But once you actually get into the main missions, the story and the actual gameplay of this game actually gets pretty interesting. For starters, the combat on this game feels kind of unique, but kind of familiar to what you're used to. It's kind of got like a tiny bit of that Arkham-esque elements in there. And from what I played on like Uncharted 1, yes, I can see from what it's like kind of the same as that. And this also reminds me something like Sleeping Dogs, if you know what that game is, in where you can go up to like structures or, you know, walls or, you know, this, that and the other. Like Bond can literally grab one of the enemies and smack him into near enough anything, or chuck him over near enough anything. This game makes use of its environment. There's something next to you, let's slam his head against the wall. Rather than with Sleeping Dogs, where it had a system where there was only certain things in that game where you could go and literally plow someone's head into a vent, whereas in this game you can literally just go around anywhere in the environment and you want to smack his head into that drawer, you smack his head into that drawer. If you want to smash his head into some glass, smash his head into some glass. By all means. But once you get out of hand-to-hand combat, the shooting system on this game is good, but at the same time I do have a bit of a gripe, which doesn't bother me that much, but I know it probably might bother some people. So most of the time you can go around sneaking on these missions, and then obviously if you get caught you would think, okay, that's it, mission over. No, most of the time you just go, nah, I'll just plow your head into something instead. I actually like that element, but I know some people might not like it. Because if you get caught, you can basically like calm down the situation before anyone basically calls reinforcements or, you know, starts to shoot at you. And if you do get caught as well, you can like persuade your way out of situations most of the time. That typical like Bond humor, like, oh, what are you doing here? Well, you know, I've just come here to pamper your dog. He probably will say that at one point in this game, and I've either missed it or it's actually going to happen. There's like situations like that which I really enjoy, and then you have a certain amount of time before the guards actually go, hang on, who the hell is this guy? This guy's just had us on. You need to like progress ahead before they actually notice you down the line. But sometimes there is like, hang on a minute, how have you just not noticed that I'm doing this? Like, I remember I persuaded someone one time and then literally about 2 foot in front of him, I went, yeah, I'm just gonna go and climb up this pipe. I never said I was a plumber, but you know, I'll climb up this pipe and you just won't bat an eyelid. They could at least go, hang on, what the hell are you doing up there? Yeah, there's little bits here and there. It works, but at the same time, it's like, but it doesn't feel like fully immersive in that regard. But again, if you do get caught, what can be kind of aggravating is you can't really use your gun until they basically use a gun on you. For example, I would have thought I would be using a silenced pistol most of the time to take people out, and no, I'm just going behind people and knocking them out. I like it, but at the same time, I can understand why people would be annoyed at that, because sometimes it does get frustrating where I could just literally go up to someone from here to there and, you know, I'm going to kill this dude anyway. Why can't I just shoot him in the head with a silenced pistol? Can be annoying. And another iffy situation is when you don't have a gun, you can take on people pretty easily. There's a lot of times where I'm running around on this game. I'm playing on regular, by the way. I'm not playing on the hardest difficulty, which I would probably recommend to do if you want a bit more of a challenge. Because most of the time I'm running around and I'm literally dodging and weaving for about 30 guys that are shooting at me whilst I'm just punching the crap out of them and dodging their fists and take them out. Good thing is you can pick up their weapon, then, you know, shoot someone else, or, you know, use a gadget mid-fight and then blind someone, for example, then, you know, start fist tackling him. There's lots of different ways you can go around things, but then at the same time, you've got elements like there's a barrel next to everyone in this game. I have never seen so many flammable barrels in a game in my life. There are friggin' thousands of these. There's a guy over there. Oh, I don't really need to go and shoot him from here properly. Let's just shoot that barrel next to him. Boom! Everything implodes. To be fair, like, they probably put these barrels in here because a lot of time when you shoot one of these things, it causes destruction, and I realize that's probably what they've gone for in this game, where a lot of things can be destroyed. And it does look cool, but it's not that realistic that there's so many barrels around and I can just shoot them and explode near enough anything on this game. I like it here and there, but there's literally loads of them. Also, if you do like these videos, please do that subscribe thing, you know, it means a lot. But if you don't want to, then just don't, but please do. And also with the combat, if you want to go that much degree further, you know, to learn it a bit better, they do have things called tac sims, which are basically simulation modes where you can go and learn your combat skills more. And you'll probably want to check these out because these help me a lot. And whilst you're doing this, you can wear any outfit you want, like I am right here, wearing the outfit from Spectre. Yes, a nice little Easter egg. There's so many little different Easter eggs in this game. There's also like little Easter eggs as well to do with the actual 007 series, you know? When a trophy's pop in, it'll say a certain name and I'll be like, ah, nice. Or, you know, there's like little items you can interact with around the world and you'll be like, yeah, there's nice little things. Like, I'm not a massive 007 fan. Like, I've watched a lot of the films, but I wouldn't be there like, probably like someone who is a die-hard fan and go like, oh, they know it more than me, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. You would know it more than me because I'm not a die-hard fan, but, you know, I've watched like most of the movies. But I don't sit there every Sunday morning with my cup of tea watching a James Bond movie. And yes, I know James Bond doesn't like tea, it's just a British thing. The driving on this game isn't the best. Like, there is a bit of times where I'm feeling like, ooh, I need to cut a corner a little bit here, or, you know, it cuts a corner too much, and, you know, like, you can tell that's not like the main element of this game, but, you know, it's fine for the little segments you have in this game. You know, you'd be driving a sports car 1 minute, the next minute you're driving a freaking bin lorry. They're not that long segments, so I feel like it's good for what it is. Now, like I said, I can't really compare this to Uncharted or Hitman that much. Like I said, I've played some of the Hitman games, but they're not like very memorable off the top of my head. But something this game does remind me of, which I didn't think it would, is a game that I've just completed literally like last week. That is Watch Dogs. Because Watch Dogs is all about hacking, and there's a lot of elements in this game which I found very familiar considering I played Watch Dogs last week. There's loads of little elements in this where you need to go around with your watch hacking stuff, or, you know, like just toying with your enemies. There's a radio. You can use your watch to go and distract the enemy to go over to the radio, then go behind them, then, you know, finish them off or fight them off however you want. Or simply just sneak past him. There's traps around in certain places where you can just set them off. You don't even need to use different things in the environment if you don't want to. You could simply just walk up to a guard and blind him if you want to, then just walk past him. Or, you know, make him feel sick with your, like, sick dart. Yeah, that's a thing. You can make them feel sick and, you know, just walk off for a few minutes. You can also use your gadgets in combat if you want to as well. You're there mid-brawl. I know, I'm going to blind you. On missions, you can like choose between certain gadgets that you want to use for your mission going forward. At the minute, I've been having a limit of like 2 to 3 gadgets a time. And the way you can actually use these gadgets are different ways on how you go around the level. So for example, if I want to unlock a door, if I don't have my trusty laser on my watch, then I can't unlock this door. I need to go and find another way to do it. If I don't have the system to go and hack a camera to turn it off, then I'll have to go around it another way. There's so many different ways where you could probably play this game again, bring different gadgets to that mission that time, and you can go around different ways of what you want to do. And speaking of different ways and what you want to do, there's so many different ways you can actually do missions on this game. For example, on one mission, I could either go and climb behind like some speakers and, you know, get up to a certain room that way. Or I could go around it another way by speaking to people and going through different corridors and different doors to actually reach that system. There's so many different ways you can do different missions, and they usually give you an option of 1 or 2, and it's up to you to go and discover where these little elements are to continue that mission onwards on how you want to do it. I really, really love that element. Ways in which it does feel like Uncharted to me is the way you're going around like buildings and stuff. For example, you can climb up ledges and, you know, dangle around them like you do on the Uncharted games. I know you do that because that's one of the biggest elements in Uncharted. I know that. And I feel like it doesn't hold your hand to show you where to go too much, but in some ways it does, because a lot of the time it doesn't have that, you know, yellow paint that, you know, some games literally show you like, you need to go this way. You're like, oh, where do I go? Oh, there's a bit of yellow paint here. I must have to follow that. It kind of has some of that in there. Like, there's little bits where you look at it and you go, yeah, this is the way I go. It's like a lot of ones that are like blue markers or, you know, white paint. It does that now and again. Not everywhere, but it does do it now and again. But one of the best things about these levels are they feel damn long. Like, I know this is apparently like a 20-hour game or so. I'm about 12 hours into this game. Like I said, I'm about 65 to 70% through this game, but you'll be in the middle of a mission and you'll be going, right, okay, this must be about an hour's long. I'm there for a good couple of hours. It's not a bad thing either. The levels aren't massive, but there's lots to do around, like I explained on different ways on how you go around the mission, which makes it a lot of fun. But there's also like a lot to interact with here. There's NPCs you can go up to and talk to. There was women that will come up to Bond and try and persuade him to do one thing where he, you know, he's just there trying to do a mission, and then, you know, the ladies' man he is, a woman comes over to him and just tries to like say to go back with him somewhere, basically. Like a lot of the time in these levels, I just want to go around exploring the place that I'm in, because they're all like kind of unique in their own way. One minute I'm in a bar, the next minute I'm in some absolute desert wasteland looking place, in some random ass hotel. You know, just going around looking at little things that are there, little details that are there, seeing where I can sneak around to, seeing what I can look at. You know, it's really like makes you want to explore more, even though the levels themselves aren't really big. Now, the way this game looks, people are saying, oh, Uncharted 4 looks better than this. Listen, it might. Uncharted 4 might look better than this, but I still think this looks bloody brilliant. That's probably the most British thing you'll hear out of me today. Bloody brilliant. Makes sense though, because we're in Britain, so I can get away with it. The lighting and everything on this game looks great. I'm going for a club and it's just like darting around everywhere. I don't think I've seen anything like this on a game looking so nice. In a club setting anyway. I felt like I was there, unfortunately. The scenery and the cars you go in look really nice as well. This is like the first game in a while, apart from like a racing game, where I've got in a car and I've gone, hang on a minute, this is a real make. This is an actual Land Rover. Not just some random make called Scabbity Poop or whatever the heck it is from GTA, where you look at the car and you can clearly tell that's a Land Rover, but it's not, because you don't have it because of copyright reasons, and then, you know, they can't put it in the game. Yeah, and there's also this weird looking Jaguar car as well. I don't know if this is some weird type of advertising for a new car that they're bringing out that looks like something from iRobot, but you know, it looks futuristic. But easily the best looking thing on this game is James Bond himself, who's played by Patrick Gibson. And after playing this game, I want this guy as the next James Bond. Yes, I said it. I said it. This guy's young enough. He's already put a performance up as James Bond in this game. This could be like his backstory if you want to play it like that. Or, you know, do it again in a movie form. I would watch this. There's going to be so many different people who want so many different people for James Bond. This guy's a contender on my list now, I'm telling you. And if we're talking about console performance, I'm playing this on the base PlayStation 5. It's not a PlayStation 5 Pro. Playing this on performance mode, not quality mode. And I've not really had any stutters here or there. I've had the odd time where the server's gone down. That might just be my connection. But overall, I've had no problems. There's not been any like stutters or little lags here or there. I've had pretty smooth time, to be honest. But no, I've been enjoying this game a lot more than I thought I would. And it's made me want to go back into some more genres like this after I finish this game. For example, I want to actually go and play some of the Hitmans now. I want to actually go and play the Uncharted games, the rest of them. Finish them. This is one of those games where I've been missing, where it's just like very cinematic, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable for what it is. Like the combat's enjoyable, the little elements of the hacking and stuff are very enjoyable, just the way it plays is enjoyable, but at the same time, it feels like you're playing through a movie. It feels like a lot of these games these days are just either open world or, you know, very generic. And this is one of those games where I feel like it's gone back to like that roots back of where we had Uncharted games and stuff like that. You know, like Gears of War, where it's like more cinematic back in the day. Games where like that, where they feel like a lot more like, wow, I'm hooked. I would definitely recommend playing this game. Is it worth the $70? It depends if you want to play this multiple times. You can play this so many different ways, I feel like. Like I said, you can go and do the same mission over and over again, and you can do it in different ways. So there's a lot of replayability there. It's only about a 20-hour long game, bear in mind, but at the same time, if you want to go and do all like the challenges this game has, and then you want to go and replay it and do the missions again, play it a different way, do it on a harder mode. There's a lot of replayability there still, but it's entirely up to yourself. If you think it's worth $70, me personally, I only paid £60 for this in the UK on the digital store, so I think it's worth that at least.